So how much do you change if you're Ryan Mason? Because the problem you've probably got with this Spurs team is the way they have been playing might be their best chance, because at least they're kind of ingrained in that defensive nature. What do you do if you're Ryan Mason?
Well, let's break it down. We'll come to the conversation about Kevin De Bruyne and what might happen with Manchester City and Harry Kane's possible involvement at the weekend or non-involvement, as the case may be. But we start with a managerial approach from Ryan Mason against as Manchester City. The best managers in the world would have some problems thinking about how to deal with them, let alone someone who's managing for the second time. But I think the things that he can take from the win over Southampton were the way they came back from a goal down, a sense of belief, a sense of quality in front of goal. And to be honest, the way that he was speaking after the game, a relief, a happiness that maybe Tottenham Hotspur, they aren't being forced into a corner.
Yeah, maybe a freedom for those players.
A freedom going into the weekend that their players can try and enjoy it. Even though it's a cup final, they can try and enjoy it. And even though it's against Manchester City, I think those are the things that he will want to take into the weekend. Do something special for Tottenham Hotspur and their fans. Put yourself into the legacy of the club. Give it everything. No one expects you to win. Let's be perfectly honest. And I think those are the things that as a novice manager, basically, he can say, look, you've got absolutely nothing to lose. The other thing is, Tottenham Hotspur has an experienced squad. Don't forget that there are a lot of players in that team who have been in big games. There's people who've won World Cups in that locker room. The idea that sort of Tottenham Hotspur are going to go into a game against Manchester City and have no ideas is wrong. Hugo Lloris will be sitting down this week with Ryan Mason. Harry Kane will be sitting down with Ryan Mason. They'll be telling him the pros and cons of playing Manchester City. How did we beat them earlier in the season? Why did we lose so heavily in the second game? And he will try and come up with an answer. And I think it will be a huge litmus test of his experience, his talent as a coach, as a motivator as well, but also his changing room has to come through. Sissoko, there's players in there that have played for England. They've got to come through. Eric Dyer, Harry Winks, help the manager out. Give yourselves a chance of winning a trophy, because I don't think it's going to be as one-sided as what people think. We didn't think Chelsea were going to win against Manchester City last week, although they're in a totally different vein of form. I think Tottenham can go and win this weekend against Manchester City. That being said, I'm not backing them, but I think they can do it. I think they can do it. But also, one of the reasons I don't think they will do it is I don't think Harry Kane will play. And he is absolutely huge for them. Who's going to be the bigger miss, James? Harry Kane if he doesn't play, or Kevin De Bruyne if he doesn't play for Manchester City?
I think it's an easy one, this one. Harry Kane, 21 goals this season. I mean, was it 13 assists? When De Bruyne was at the team, you could argue Man City have played their best football this season. And a player that we spoke about earlier, Gundogan, I think this is a final for him. I really do. I think what we've seen with how stretched that Tottenham midfield, I thought that was a great point as well, Hugh, about that midfield and the stretching that Gundogan does when he makes those late runs. For Højbjerg to have to go side to side all game and then have to go long ways and back ways to track those runners as well. If that happens again, it's too much. And in the second half, I see Spurs completely crumbling. That's if they can even get to that point. I wonder if there's a brave decision to be made where you play three at the back. You use Reguilon and Aurier, and you have Son up top, and you don't play Kane in this, because I think there are times where you've seen it at the Champions League final. He kind of came back and he wasn't right, and that's why I think it's very difficult for Ryan Mason to make the right call, because of course it will come down to the result itself. He has to be very brave if he wants to make that call. And I think you're right as well. The one thing he will have is the buy-in of the players. I think that will be his sole focus going into this game. But for me, De Bruyne is one of the best players in the world, but he's not as integral as Harry Kane is to Spurs. So I'm with you. Predictions-wise, I just cannot. It would be a freak result for Spurs to get anything out of this. Can they hang in there and get themselves to penalties, something like that, which you've seen previously in the Carabao Cup final? Maybe, but I really think this could get ugly. I could see this being 3-0, maybe even more for a Man City side that still overall is purring. What's your prediction, mate?
I'm going to go Riyad Mahrez to score at any time. I'm going to say Manchester City to win the game 3-1 as well. And we know one thing, if Harry Kane's able to stand on two legs on Sunday, he's going to be starting that game at Wembley. It's going to be a cracker, hopefully. The first trophy of the season will be handed out in the EFL Cup final at Wembley. Loads for us to look forward to and discuss, of course, next week. James, been a pleasure to be with you and discuss the weekend's action. And of course, we're both looking forward to it. Thanks for joining us on ESPN's Football Forecast.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.